It's really, I think we're excited. I know Tom's excited. My role, I'm Sally Meisenheimer. I'm part of the Vinspire team, and welcome everybody. It's good to see some new faces here. My role tonight is to get Tom all wound up and let go. So when I slip off the stage, it's because I think he's all set. So I'd like to welcome Tom Bull. I'm going to read from my this important information. Tom's here to redefine love tonight, and he is a professional speaker. He's an executive life coach. He's a positive culture consultant. One of his catchphrases is live big, love bigger. And I know that he's going to say a lot tonight. If you need him to repeat something, because it's going to be a lot, please ask. And I know Tom loves questions. He loves interactions. He'll be encouraging that too. And I think you'll all find the rhythm just like I will once we get started. So welcome, Tom. I just would like to say the bar is open. And the bar doesn't mean that it's only alcohol beverages. There's non-alcoholic. I'm having a great cocktail right now that's a mocktail. And so please consider your donation to be getting a drink at the bar. Old Soul generously gives us this space. They're a wonderful place in Plattsburgh that hosts so much great stuff. So please step up to the bar just during the night and contribute to this great place. I just want to tell you, so we invited Tom to come, and a few weeks ago we connected and talked on the phone, and I was kind of in a pissed off mood, I have to say. I was like struggling with somebody that really makes me mad a lot of the time, and Tom started talking about love. And I'm like, I know all about love. I'm good at love. I'm a lover. And then he started talking about loving people that are really difficult, and using love as a motivational force and a personal power in everything you do.
Can I just make an observation?
Yes.
When you said that, it got really quiet in here.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Like when you use love with difficult people, it got really quiet. So struck a chord, right? Struck a chord.
Yeah, I think it was my husband that hushed her. So that gave me a different perspective and really a great understanding of really what Tom is here to talk about. And so a couple of goals that we have for tonight, and I know Tom will talk a bit about this as we go, is to leave here with a new alignment and a sense of how to harness and use love in all aspects of your life. To walk away with a fresh and actionable approach, personal approach. So it's going to strike everybody a little bit differently. You're all going to hear and be inspired by something different, but the goal is to really think outside your box and take it home with you. So like I said, I'm going to slip away at some point, but Tom, we thought that we would start with a cleansing of the palate exercise, kind of a cleansing of your mind and heart about how you think of love, to kind of prepare you for what's going to come. So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, so thank you. And I'm so excited to see familiar faces and different What I'm really excited about is every single one of you have the opportunity to step out of here. I don't care how big the crowd is or how small it is. The impact that one person can make on another person is an amazing, incredible ripple effect when you leave here. Yeah? So my promise to you is that you will be better off when you leave here than when you walk in. Okay? Is that okay? Is that a good promise? Yeah. And if your mind's not expanded and you're not thinking about love differently, you're not thinking about your life differently at all, then I'll have Sally give you 10 push-ups if it doesn't work out. But the truth of the matter is there's an incredible impact here. We're not just talking about individual, we're also talking about community. We're talking about the individual person, but we're talking about the collective. And there's no better time than right now to be talking about love. and we're open to it, right? There's a lot of people open to it. We're not being introduced to love. We're being reintroduced to love. Okay, so I want to set that marker straight. So let's do a little cleanse the palate. I love that term because I want you to bring yourself in the moment, in the present moment. Okay, I want you to leave whatever you have outside those doors. Leave it out there. Leave it out there. Today we're coming together collectively, heart to heart connected, as human beings experiencing what we're about to experience. Okay? What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to think about somebody. I want you to think about somebody that you care deeply about, someone that you get really, really excited when you see them, someone you can lean on and confide in. Someone, when you leave, you feel better having been in their presence. And you look forward to seeing them again. Now, when you leave, it kind of like lingers on, you know? It's like they're still around. And you really, really enjoy their presence. Beautiful. I want you to sit in that for a moment. Enjoy that, the presence of that spirit of that person. Beautiful. Now open your eyes. You feel that? Did you feel that? Here's what's really cool about this. That person isn't anywhere to be found. Perhaps they are. Maybe they're right next to you, hey Linda? Perhaps. But maybe they're not. But you hold it in your mind. The most powerful tool we have is the 5 inches between our ears. And some of us 6, I see big heads, right? And some of us 6. But the most powerful tool we have is what's in our mind, right? What we hold and in our heart. So that person that you felt in that moment, that feeling that you felt, that, my friends, is love. That's love. Love is a feeling, it's a state, and it's an emotion. Now I want you to close your eyes again. And I want you to think about that person that you try to avoid. That person, when you're around them, they drain you. That you say yes to them when you really want to say no. Someone who, when you're around them, just, you can't wait to leave. And my goodness, you don't want to see them again. Time and space. Maybe there's some one-upsmanship. Every time you share something, they share something better. You have that person in your mind. I don't want to hold you there too long, so open your eyes.
Thank you.
You feel that?
Yes.
That, my friends, is a contrast. So you can feel the difference between what it's like to be in the presence of somebody who you are drawn to. That's energy. And you can feel what it feels like when you're around somebody who you don't want to be around. That's energy. And that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about energy. We're talking about connection, both in an individual and a collective. Now here's the twist. Here's the twist. When you closed your eyes and you were thinking about either one of those people, were either one of them you? When you were thinking about that person you were looking forward to being around, spending time with, someone you can confide and lean on, who energizes you, was it you? And if it wasn't, why not? And if the second person was you, I have a coaching practice and I'd love to work with you. So I want to put you in this state of what are we trying to move towards? And what we're trying to move towards is that experience that you had with the first meditation. We're moving to an expansion of how we feel and put ourselves in a state, because in that state we're elevated and there's so much more we can do. And what I want to leave you with, as Sally pointed out, what I want to leave you with is practical. See, when we talk about love, it gets all weird. It gets weird because everybody has different experiences with it. Well, Tom, I don't want to talk about love because I tried to get in love. It's the first thing you think about, right? When you think about love, you think about intimacy and romance. Oh, we're going to go further than that. We are going to go further than that. That is just the scratching of the surface. There is so much more to love than romance. Good start?
Yes.
Yeah, right on. We cleanse that palate. Next.
So you've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
doing coaching and motivational speaking, but you said this kind of love kicked off with the pandemic. You started really delving into it, and this is where this kind of you have created this philosophy. So what happened during the pandemic, like for you, for other people, that you think kind of made you think we need more of this?
Well, for some time, when I would talk about love, anybody here who's ever had me present in their organization, or I've worked and coached with them, over the years, I was talking about love, and sometimes they didn't. Maybe they knew, maybe they didn't, because the word love just brought up a lot of different things for different people. But what I think what happened with the pandemic is that people became very, very reflective about themselves, their relationships, how they wanted to show up in the world. And, for the first time, we were spending more time with our families than ever. We were going from 1 hour a day to 24 hours a day. That'll make you reflect. It was during the that was the Great Resignation, right? So people were leaving their jobs, going and pursuing dreams of theirs, which is a deep soul move. It's like, how do I connect? How do I align with the world, right? What do I want to do? What kind of impact do I want to make? So I think what the pandemic did is it pumped the brakes. When all the Netflix shows were done and we're at the bottom of our last wine bottle, right? We're like, we should really think about our lives, right? The deck is done, the lawn is mowed, and so it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I think people spent a lot of time reflecting. And when you get to the bare bones and you keep reflecting, what ultimately happens is you get down to the fundamentals. And what the fundamental truly is do I love myself?
So you had said it all starts with self.
Yes.
So that's where you're going to start today, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In this, yeah. Well.
Sorry, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm trying to yell at you.
I'm like listening and participating.
Yeah. Well, ultimately that's what we're gonna talk about. But I don't want to go there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go to start?
You ready to release me?
I am, but I guess I would like to kind of say a few things that stuck with me, and one of the things, I was looking over my notes, and there were lots of things that came to mind, but I loved the idea of, you said at one point in our conversation that, you know what, Sally, you're the CEO of your own life. Who do you want sitting at your boardroom table? Mm-hmm. And why do you allow some of those people to take up space at that table? Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very powerful for me. Like, wow, okay, I actually do have a say of who, but that starts with me. And I could tell that all of this came back to me, and how do we start making decisions to put ourselves in a place of being able to do all this stuff, but I know it comes from self. So, Tom, take it away. Isn't
that frustrating that you realize that it's about you? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, it's not about them? It's not about what they're doing? And then we find out that everything that is going on in our life is from us? That as within, so without? That what we're seeing, every relationship that we have, every decision that we make in our life has everything to do with us, and nothing to do with anybody else? That's hard to digest, because it lets us off the hook when we say, well, what about them? See, as the CEO of our life, you're right, we do have people sitting around our table, many that are lifting us up and some that are bringing us down. Well, Tom, like, how do I get rid of the people who are sitting at the table that are so significant to me? My parents. What about my friend who I grew up with, my brothers, my sisters? What do I do with them? See, what happens is when we have those kind of relationships with people, we've had a history with them, we feel bad, right? We feel bad letting them go. But how often do we ask people about financial advice who are broke? How many times do we listen to people who give us advice who aren't living it themselves? Why? Because I don't want them to feel like they're insignificant. I want to make sure that and we will do what they say so that they feel okay. In other words, we will live a small life to make sure that everybody around us doesn't feel uncomfortable or uneasy. That we will shrink ourselves down to almost nothing because we want to make sure the people around us feel like something. And so we sacrifice our happiness. And I ask you, how loving is that to us, to ourselves? How loving is that? Because in order for me, Jim Rohn says, I will take care of me for you and you take care of you for me. By taking care of myself, by doing what I need to do, by loving myself, I become a version. Like imagine if I'm your best friend and I become this. Now it's not a version, by the way, I want to make clear. I say it and then I'm like, oops, stop, pump the brakes, hit reverse, and here's why. I don't think that we become a better version of ourselves. I believe we already are everything that we're intended to be. We just give ourselves permission to be. You see? Because the permission to be is allowing ourselves to step into our bigness. Allowing ourselves to step into what we already know. Deep down, we already know. But we pretend like we don't so that people don't feel uneasy or uncomfortable. See? So I would reflect, and we're going to talk about, actually, as we go on, real practical guide for how do you know who sits at that table? How do you figure that out? How do you create a network around you that lifts you up? Now I call them leeches, and either leeches or lifters. And some people are like, you can't call people leeches, that's not fair. Yeah, we sit there and we're like closing our eyes going, all right, they're draining my energy. They're sucking you dry, that's what's happening. So leeches or lifters, and you have to, and I have a way of gauging that.
Go ahead.
All right, sister. All right. This I love Sally. Thank you so much for Sally. Thank you. How about for what Sally's doing and Dana and Dina and Vinspire has been going on. I've been kind of keeping tabs on Vinspire since the day it started, and it's a privilege and a pleasure to be spending time up here doing this in this venue. So this is so a little bit about me. This really didn't, the pandemic, yes, but this really started when I was 13 years old. 13 years old, I was writing things down, I was waking up in the middle of the night. My parents actually put a whiteboard up in my room because I would wake up and I was reading like Wayne Dyer and listening to Tony Robbins tape and, reading the, Gabron, all kinds of stuff. And I'd wake up and everything started making sense to me, just these connections. And I was a little misguided kid, So I remember in 4th grade, I was pulled in by a teacher, and the teacher was like, Tommy, I think you cheated on a test. And I was like, what? I sprung a leak. And so they pulled me in and said, listen, Tom, sit down. And I said, oh, fine. So I sat down. And he said, let's go over the test. You were sat next to Mary, is that correct? I said, yes, that's correct. So he said, let's go over the test. I said, fine, let's do it. And I was a little edgy, and I was a little nervous. So I was a little disrespectful, I get it. And he said, hey, let's look at the first question. I said, fine. He said, the first question was, who's the first president of the United States? Mary wrote George Washington. You wrote George Washington. I said, yeah, I know. The second question, okay. Who was the president during the Emancipation Proclamation? Mary wrote Abraham Lincoln. You wrote Abraham Lincoln. I said, sir, I studied, I know. Last question, Tommy. Patience. Okay. Who was the president during the establishment of the Mason-Dixon line? Mary wrote, I don't know. You wrote, me neither. And that's when I was just misguided. That's all it was. I was misguided. Michael, just misguided, man. So, but some people are like, is that a true story? Maybe it is, and maybe it is. So I was, you can imagine being a misguided kid and just getting into some trouble, but I was very respectful. I tried to be as respectful as I could. At 13 years old, I was trying to figure stuff out. I was trying to make sense of my world. And what I'm about to share with you today is what I learned in my own experience. So I bring this to companies. I work with leaderships and CEOs, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing. So here we are today, and I get to talk about love in businesses. I get to talk about love in school districts. I get to talk about love with men. This has been one of the most incredible journeys of my life. And to be able to do this with you and talk about love and reframe it and redefine it as a powerful transformational tool for your everyday life is extremely rewarding to me. So, did you all have your cards? You all have your cards? Yeah. Beautiful. What I want you to do is I want you to, because we're going to get right into this, I want you to leave here with something practical, okay? So, what I want you to do on those cards is I want you to write, well first, let me step back for a second. On one of the cards and your pen, I want you to write, I want you to draw 9 dots for me, okay? It's going to look like this. Okay? So draw 9 dots on your card, one of those cards. Take your time to hurry up.
You're very bossy, Tom.
I know! It's not very loving. All right. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to connect all these dots with only 4 lines, and you can't lift your pen off the paper. Okay? So you have to connect these dots with 4 lines, but you can't lift your pen off the paper. Okay? And if there's smoke, we'll just shut it all down, okay? And if you get it, keep it secret. Michelle, did you get it? You get it? You remember?
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
I've had people do this before, and then they did it again, and they're like, "Ah." Anybody get it? Did you get it? All right, for the sake of time, and I'm starting to smell that electrical smell. Yeah. All right, for the sake of time.
Tom, can you stand to the side so I can...
Oh, this happens every time I'm on stage. Like, can you just sit still? All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to give you this. All right, I'll give you this. I'll give you 30 more seconds. With the idea, I'll give you a hint. You have to go outside the box. You have to go outside the box, all right? Both literally and figuratively, you have to go outside of the box, all right? I'll give you 30 more seconds. All right. Anybody get it? So that hint was useless? All right. So here it is. You ready? Here we go. Let me ask you, what about this made it difficult for you to come up with a solution?
Because you had to color between the lines in school. You couldn't go out.
I can't go outside the line. So, in other words, there's constructs and beliefs. Yes? Okay. Anybody else? Why else was this hard?
Like a self-imposed constraint.
Self-imposed constraint. In what way? Explain that.
It didn't occur to me, like, here are 9 dots. Like, I should stay within them.
Right. Yes. Joe?
I was just going to say because we were timed pressure.
Oh, a little bit of pressure too.
Yeah.
So in many cases, the feedback that I usually get on this exercise is the fact that we have 9 dots that are structured. They're framed in a certain way. So when we look at this, we say the answer is within this construct, right? The answer is within these 9 dots. And the only way that we can come up with a solution within this framework, with the resources that we have, because I'll tell you, if we had 5 lines, we'd be good, yes?
Yeah.
Right? So we were limited in resources, and we were limited in our understanding and our idea based on the construct of what we are perceiving to be the answer, which is within there somewhere. But it's not. The only way we can come up with a solution is to get outside of the construct, to get outside the oh, you guys know where I'm going with this, right?
Right.
You feeling it? So the answer is outside of the construct. The answer is here. And this is where we're going today. Why? Because we have tried to work within the construct. We have tried to elevate our communities in ways that just aren't working anymore. One of the things that really, really, really frustrates me about our community, all communities, is when we hear things like, we don't have enough money to do this particular program. We don't have enough resources. We don't have enough space. And that's not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the answer. The answer is we go back to the basics and the fundamentals of our ability to connect with one another. There is something more powerful than giving somebody money based on a grant, or sitting across the dinner table from them and asking them about themselves, about being available. There's a big difference. And I'm passionate about this a little bit. Because I think this is where our answer is. Our answer is outside of the constructs. We have been pulled into this idea, this concept, that it has to continue to be what it's always been. But I will tell you, the answer is doing what we've never done so we can get to where we've never been. The only way we can do that is outside of the construct. And that's why love becomes the answer. So we are going to delve into this space because we've done enough here. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Right on, right on. All right. That's where we're headed. So on the other 5 cards, this is what I want you to do. I want you on the other 5, any questions, feel free. I want a dialogue. This is fantastic. So if you have any questions, any ideas, over the 25 years that I've been doing this, your contribution has helped me understand me. So this is not just about me. I want to hear from you so that we can support each other. Right? Some of the most amazing breakthroughs have come from the sharing. Okay, so please share if you're feeling moved to do that. All right. Your other 5 cards. What I want you to do one on each card, I want you to put a value or a character trait that you believe is essential for a healthy, thriving, positive relationship to exist. Okay? A healthy, thriving, positive relationship to exist. Again, one value on each card, and write it big.
Write it again.
Can you put this in your pocket? Yeah, don't look at it or we'll have you escorted, okay? Okay. So on each card, write it big, a value or a character trait that you believe is significant, important, essential for a healthy, thriving, positive relationship to exist. I had teenagers do this, and one was like, money. Money. And if you have an extra card, write another one. Who cares? 5 character traits or values you believe are essential for a healthy, thriving, positive relationship to exist. Get them all, Sally? You put them all down?
I have 1 extra.
You have 1 extra? All right, need any more? Who needs more time? Beautiful. All right, this is what I want you to do now. I want you to tell me, just shout them out. Shout them out. Give me one. Honesty. What else? Respect. Loyalty.
Resilience.
What was that?
Resilience.
Resilience.
Empowerment.
Ooh.
Integrity.
Wait, empowerment in a relationship? I love that. Now, empowerment means the gift of giving power, right?
Building each other up.
Yes. Someone said something else.
Integrity.
Integrity.
Humor.
Humor.
Trust.
Trust. Chemistry. Someone's like, yeah. That kind of love. I get you. All right, what else? Vulnerability.
Cynicism.
Cynicism? It starts with a C, right? How do you spell cynicism? Right, yeah. Cynicism. C-Y-S-C? I'm hearing a lot of numbers and letters. I-S-M.
You forgot the C.
Got the C. Where's the C?
After the I.
After the, right there?
And another one.
And another I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, hold on. Taking my pulse down on that. All right, that one was like, sit it. All right, what else?
No one said love.
Love.
That's the obvious one, right?
What else? Stability.
Humility.
Oh, humility.
Also stability.
I know, right?
Pertinaciousness.
Acceptance.
How about fight?
Fight?
Yeah. I'll back that up.
Oh, I got you. Like fight for the relationship?
Fight, but people grow from fighting with each other.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. If they fight right. Yeah.
How about kindness?
Kindness.
Empathy.
Empathy.
Discernment.
Discernment. You guys are getting too fancy.
I put a little bit of wildness.
Wildness?
Yeah. Like a little bit of unspicy to make it fun.
Are these essential? Like wildness? Like a. All right, wildness. All right, what else?
Hope.
Hope. Patience. I feel like there's some missing. Forgiveness.
Self-love.
All right. Self-love.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Oh my gosh. Self-awareness. All right. So let's do this. Show of hands. How many of you have trust? Look at all the hands. Look at all the hands. This is what was going on. I want to put out a big word that sounds fancy. That's what I want. But there's basic fundamentals, yes? Look at all the hands that went up with trust.
It's up there. It's already there.
Where?
Look to your right.
Oh my gosh. So what else? What else is up?
Respect.
Respect. Yep. Is that up there? Yep. What else?
Humor.
Humor. Anybody? How many have put understanding? How many had understanding on their list? Look.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness is. So this is what I want. Well, and how many of you had communication?
We only had 5 parts.
Yeah, wildness took one. Yeah.
That's right, Tom.
And fight took one. So, all right. So this is what I want to ask you. How many of you are of these up here? How many of you had respect? Raise your hand high so I can see it. Do you think that's one of the big ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just want to see. How about vulnerability? How many had vulnerability? Couple. Okay. How about honesty? Raise your hands high. Okay. That's another one? Big one?
Yeah.
Communication? Just one, two, couple. Patience? No? Honesty, respect. Trust? How many had trust? A number of you, right? Trust. Okay. Okay. Acceptance? And love? How many had love? One. I'm so glad I'm working with you tonight. So the top, we'll say the top 3 would be respect, trust, and honesty, yes? Yeah. What other one would you put down if you had another chance to do it? What's that? Acceptance. Okay. Communication. How many would agree that communication is probably one of the top 5 of this? Right. What's the purpose of communication? What's that? Understanding. Yes? Right? Would we all agree that that's like the top, that would be the top 5? You tell me, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we're talking about fundamentals now. Okay? Could you kick out that card for me?
Is this like a magic trick?
It is a little bit. I wish I had drum rolls and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you can open it up. Drum roll, please. Ruth. What?
Respect and trust, honesty.
Holy macaroni. Now, why was I able to do that?
Because you know.
No, I don't.
You are the great and powerful.
I don't know. Who knows?
We all do.
You do. You know. You know what the foundation is. You know what the fundamentals are. You know what's important. You know the pillars of a healthy, thriving, positive relationship to exist. You know. My question is, are we practicing it? Are we doing it? Now, I want you to take a moment and think about when you closed your eyes that first time and you were thinking about that person. Was there respect? Was there honesty? Was there trust? Was there understanding? Absolutely. Now think about the other person. Was there respect, understanding, trust, and honesty? No. So the first one is a pure example of Ruth. The second is a pure example of ruthless. The second example is what you experience when Ruth is not present. Because what Ruth is what?
Love.
Love. Ruth is love. You cannot have love. Can you love someone that you don't respect, that you don't try to understand, that you don't trust, and you're not honest with? Can you? You can't. And here's what's really cool. This is cool. You see how it doesn't go when you want? So cool. So, we already agreed, right? That each element needs to be in place for it to be love. Yes? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're talking about being the CEO of our life, just keep that in mind. So love is very much like water. It is essential. We need it in our life, or we slowly dwindle. What's the elements of water? What are the H2O. So my question is, if I was to take a hydrogen or an oxygen out of here, would it be water anymore? No, it just remain the elements, yes? Right? So just like Ruth all of these need to be in place in order for it to be love. So, how do we gauge who sits at that boardroom table? I want you to take some time and reflect on that network that surrounds you and ask yourself this question. Does respect, understanding, trust, and honesty, is it present in this relationship? And how do we know? How do we know if it's present? By the way you feel when you're around them. Yes? And it's not just, let me ask you this now, as Sally alluded in our earlier conversation, where does this begin?
Inside yourself.
Do you respect yourself? Do you value yourself? Do you know yourself? Do you take time to know yourself? Do you stay in quiet and allow the truth to come up and really focus on what am I trying to tell myself? What is my higher self trying to tell myself? Do I spend time in understanding? One of the most challenging, if I asked you, of all of these elements, I would assume that trust, and I assume just based on the feedback I've received over the couple decades I've been doing this, trust is the biggest challenge, yes? Let me shed some light on why trust is the biggest challenge. Because respecting yourself is about respecting you. Understanding you is about understanding you. Being honest, I'm honest with myself. But when it comes to trust, we are always looking outside of ourselves to establish if trust exists or not within a relationship. But when we talk about trust, and this will, I promise you, this in itself will blow up every relationship that you have in a positive way. Here's why. When you begin to realize that the trust we're talking about here is about trusting that no matter what happens outside of ourselves, no matter what somebody does to us or says to us, regardless of what the circumstances are around us outside of ourselves, that we trust ourselves that we're going to get through it. That it doesn't matter if someone tries to hurt us or say something negative or breaks up with us or walks away from us. That is not where we place our trust. Because people will fail us because they're humans. They do that. And all the time. And when they do it, like, I can't trust you. I can't trust you. Can you trust you? Can you trust you? See, in this capacity of respect, understanding, trust, and honesty, and trust yourself that no matter what someone does to you, that I have the strength and capacity to walk through it, to get through it, that now I will show up 100% for you. As a friend, as a partner, as a colleague, it doesn't matter. I will show up 100% for you. I won't stay back 80%. I won't protect myself. I won't create distance. Why? I'm going to show up 100%. Because if I show up 100% and something doesn't go right outside myself, I know I can get through it. So I'm not going to protect myself because you're going to do something to me that I can't handle. So if we come from that perspective, see, a bird doesn't flutter over to a branch and go, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to break or not, so I'm going to wait. What it does, instinctually, it trusts that if it lands on the branch and it breaks, it'll flutter away. It's got the capacity, the strength, the know-how to go to the next branch. And that's what it is. It doesn't. You're showing up in a relationship, in circumstances, and if it's like I'm nervous that person isn't going to do what I want them or need them to do, then it's not about them. It's about you needing someone else to fill your capacity and knowing that you can. And if you know that, if you show up like that, then every circumstance that you come into, you can give your fullness. Now, you don't have to show hands. But think about how many times have you shown up in a relationship 75, 80%, maybe less, because you're guarded and afraid of what's going to happen. So I'm not going to give all of you. So that person never gets to experience you fully. They only get to feel and experience a portion of you. So it's like, why don't they respect me? Why aren't they there for me? Well, are you showing up and showing you fully your whole complete vulnerability, your heart? Probably not. You're coming up with a short-ended version of who you are. Because you don't trust that if you give your full heart that I could get through it. Are you feeling that? Does Sally have to do 10 push-ups tonight? I hope that that in itself, you can leave here going, I got to learn to trust me and what I'm capable of doing. So what is that? When we start defining love and redefining love, what love first starts with is with us. And if you can digest the idea that as within, so without, that everything that is happening out here is coming from you. What does that mean, Tom? Is that like psychobabble? Is that like cosmic? No. Because whatever it is that you feel about yourself, you will attract everything that validates that. And we're going to talk about it in 1 second, but it is the truth. Change what you think and feel from within, and everything outside you will change. Because you begin to align and pay attention to and attract and pursue all that you feel to be true. And so if you trust yourself and that you're capable, guess what? Great things come and confront you, and you're able to grab them because you know that you can. Some of us don't grab what's rightfully ours because we don't trust that we can. So Ruth is a great gauge for you first. For you first. Do you value yourself? Listen, if you don't value yourself and you don't respect yourself, valuable things and respectful things will not come your way. If you don't know who you are, how do you know how to create the life that you want? If you don't even know who you are and what you're aligned with. If you don't trust that you can, then everything that comes in your path that may be a challenge, but on the other side of that is everything that you ever wanted, but I don't think I can, you'll never have it. And if you're not honest with where you are right now, you can't develop a plan and a path and an understanding of how to get to where you want to go. This is the most loving process you could possibly have. It's starting with yourself first. This is powerful. That is love. That is love. So if all of this is that true? Is it true? Is this true? It's true. And a lot of this is not even like stuff that you don't know. This isn't new to you. But it is a reminder. And I love the idea of Ruth because Ruth reminds me of that aunt that you go over to her house and she's baking cookies and bread. And it's like, Because it's that feeling. That feels like home. Anybody know a Ruth? Raise your hand if you know a Ruth. Raise your hand if the Ruth you know is not a good person.
Oh.
See? Nobody. I was at the Chamber of Commerce one year. I was at the Chamber of Commerce doing a training on networking. And I said, anybody know any Ruths? And one person rose, anybody where Ruth wasn't a good person? And the person raised their hand. And I said, oh boy. And the two people next to them who works with them started laughing. And I said, oh no. Who is this? Who's this Ruth person? My ex-wife. And I go, well, it might not be Ruth. I didn't say that, but I wanted to. But truly. Now here's what's really cool. We can play with this, right? So we got Ruth and we got Ruthless, right? Here's what's really cool too. That sometimes when we're walking through love and we're experiencing love, it doesn't always feel good, right? It doesn't always feel good. We have to work through some things. So if we scramble it up around a little bit, it can hurt. But it's worth it to get to the other side of it. And if we maintain our self-respect, know who we are. See, if we're sitting there in silence, right? If we're sitting there in silence trying to understand who we are, doesn't always feel good, right? Because there's truths that come up in you that you're like, I don't want to hear that. Right? So it doesn't always feel good. It's uncomfortable. Trust me, uncomfortable. Being us, it's uncomfortable sometimes. And sometimes it hurts and it gets mixed up. So begin with this. Begin with this. Now, respecting others and being respected by others. I want you to understand too that understanding, such a powerful, powerful piece of all this, and I think probably one of the most underappreciated components of Ruth. Why? What's the most neglected form of communication? Nonverbal? Silence? See, when we think about communication, we're thinking about communication, aren't we? Listening. Which is the other side of communication we don't pay a lot of attention to. The most neglected form of communication that we have in the human experience, you're brilliant, is listening. I know. Is listening, right? It's the most neglected form of communication we have. And when we talk about understanding, well, we want to be, and we always want to be understood. This is backwards in the human experience, at least in our culture. Stephen Covey said something that just struck really, really hard with me when it came to understanding. He said, first seek understanding, then be understood. Let's say that again, because I need that to land. First, seek understanding, then be understood. Why is that significant? Why is that important?
Then the door's open.
How?
Because they're able to hear you.
They're able to hear you?
First.
Well, they're validated. They feel.
They feel
like-
validated?
they feel
Sure. If you're loving somebody and you want to be there for them, the only way to know how to show up is to know where they are. And sometimes we love people by showing up the best way we know how to show up. Right? So we will give you what we know best and what we feel most comfortable giving. But if I seek understanding from you and you tell me what you're going through, now I have to say to myself, this is what you need. Now I have to show up to fill that need, to help you with that. Our young people go through this with their parents. We try to help our kids by doing things we think they need. And I work in school districts as a consultant, a positive culture consultant, working specifically with students becoming the leaders of their school. And what they will tell you is that adults tell us what we need. Adults tell us exactly the problem that we're having, and they don't even ask us. So you may have a child of yourself or a child that's come through that would get upset with you because you would put all this energy and effort to try to help them, and they'd be like, Mom, Dad, no, you are so ungrateful. I am doing everything I can to help you. You are. With that problem, I'm putting a lot of energy and focus in this problem, but you're not asking me what's going on with me. So seeking understanding and then being understood puts us in a position to better serve the people we care deeply about. Even in meetings, help me understand is a great tool, ... Help me understand what it is that you need right now. Help me understand what your challenge is right now. Help me understand what you could have, if I can support you, that would help you get through what you want. Help me understand is a beautiful tool to help somebody express to you exactly what they need. If you're in a relationship, an intimate partnership, a friendship, and something's going on, one thing that you can do as a very empowering thing in helping to move a relationship forward is help me understand so I can better be present for you and help you move to where you need to go. It takes the wind right out of the sail. The sail of conflict, the sail of button heads. Once you become an ally, there's no fight. Help me understand so that I can stand with you, not against you. Help me understand so I can be an ally and not an enemy. This is a powerful place, the understanding. And listening I do restorative practice and restorative justice work with a variety of different groups. And it is the power of the listening within the circle that makes all the difference. By the time the circle goes around and that person who's sitting right beside me hears everything that someone said, they reflect on themselves and ask, do I believe that anymore? In the listening, it challenges your own deep values and beliefs. When you listen, you're like, that makes sense, and that makes me change my perspective, perhaps. What I do is a little exercise, it's a lot of fun. I have people go around and tell me what their favorite ice cream flavor is. And by the time it gets to the other person, like, oh my gosh, I heard all these, I could have any one of those, right? And that's what ends up happening. We hear the different flavors, the different ideas, the different perspectives, the different viewpoints, approaches, and we go, wow, that challenges what I think inside. And that's what I love about this, and I hope that we have a dialogue. I love to talk, my friends. I have a microphone, I'm on the stage. But I would love to hear what you have to say. Does this make sense to you? Does it bring value to you? Do you feel elevated? Do you feel like you have a better understanding? Like, think about being present and intentional when you show up in relationships, both with yourselves and the people around you. How you show up in a meeting tomorrow, your next meeting, when there's a challenging, difficult person. Try that question. Help me understand what you need so that I can better be present and support you where you want to go. I want to hear what you have to say so I can be there for you. The first thing we want to do in the human experience, particularly in our culture, is to be heard. We all do. It's called voice, vision, value. We all want to be seen, we all want to be heard, and we all want to be appreciated, right? Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, recommendations, compliments? Anyone? Compliments? Anyone?
My cat's name is Ruth.
See?
And we adopted her, and I'm like,
oh,
I gotta give her,
Oh,
she's
Ruth.
all over me all the time, and I'm a little touched out, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, but now I think I'm supposed to be learning a lesson.
this is beautiful. Beautiful, because when Ruth crawls up on you, even when Ruth leaves a little bit of fur
Every time.
on your black pants as you walk out the door, you're like, I have to remember to love.
Yep.
Yeah,
A
right on.
reminder.
That's a reminder,
Yeah.
My
right?
cat's name is Ruthless.
Can you speak a little bit about honesty when sometimes people will say, well, I'm just being honest,
Yeah.
but it's not very kind.
Yes.
And not that you always have to be kind, but there is something to the delivery that either you can hear or you don't hear.
Mm.
So because people can hide behind that, just
Yes.
being honest.
Yes. Some people wear it as a badge. Even, I'll take it to the next level. They'll say things like, can I be brutally honest with you?
Yeah, right. That thing.
Right? Well, let me ask you, is there any way of you being honest with me without hurting me?
Without being brutal.
Is there any way that you can share with me what I need to hear
Yeah.
that is going to help me feel like you're there on my side and not trying to be condescending?
Or I might just say now, right now, I'm just not in the mood for it.
Yeah, brutally, right. Brutally honest, and you know everybody has somebody that goes, a couple things. One, they're like, well, I'm brutally honest, right, guys? Right? I'm brutally honest, and they're like, yeah, she's brutally. That's what she does. That's what she or he, right?
Yeah.
That's a great. You want the truth? Go to her. You know, go to him. He'll tell you exactly what's on his mind. No, it's an excuse to be unkind, and I don't know if it's intentional, but it does. It is a power different. It is a power thing. It's a power thing. Like I'm going to tell you. Well, and here's the other thing. Brutally honest. With who and why and what source? Like what you're being honest with me from your perspective, not from mine. Like you're going to tell me what you're honest about? That doesn't mean that's the truth. That's just your honesty. So no matter how strong you feel about it, doesn't mean I agree with it. So as brutal and as whatever energy you want to bring my way doesn't necessarily mean that your honesty is my honesty, my truth.
So I just want to follow up to honesty though, then there's the other people who won't be honest because they don't feel they can be, so they hold that back because they don't think it'll either get them anywhere. Maybe it's a family member and you're like, well, I can't be honest.
Yeah, they lack love for themselves. Because there's a lack of value.
Right, doesn't it butt against truth then?
All of it does.
Honesty butts against truth in that scenario.
All of it does. You see, all of it does. It's like if you don't have understanding, how can you trust and be honest with somebody? You know, if you're not honest with somebody, how can there be trust? How can there be respect? It's like this continuum, right? This is energy that just goes back and forth. Absolutely. When one element is compromised, they're all compromised, right? So if that person, I guarantee you, the person that isn't, I can't be honest because if I am, then there's repercussions, is the same person that won't be honest with themselves.
But don't you think sometimes you're not honest because you respect somebody? If you know someone's going through something and they're mean because you know what they're going through, and you give them a credit for that, so you're not honest with them.
There's a strategy where honesty can still be present. And the strategy is you don't have to be honest about the detriment or the diminished quality. You can be honest about the strength. It's a strength-based approach. So that person, perhaps they're not what they perceive themselves to be. But there is a perception of what they are. Like you can give strength through honesty. You don't have to be honest with them to tell them what they're not. Does that make sense?
Well, and I think too, we don't always have to tell people, right? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
Well, and it depends on if they ask for it.
Right.
Could you give me your,
We're just leaving it right now.
Unsolicited advice.
right, it's the unsolicited, like, can you give me some honest feedback? First of all, that's interesting.
Which part?
Honest.
Because when they say, can you give me some honest feedback? I'm like, well, what's the other?
The alternative.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I will give you feedback, but it won't be honest. Let's be, yeah. Yeah, they're brutally honest. Yeah.
But then, Tom,
Yes.
it's like you said that the you is like really circled there, the understanding, and it seems like when you're really struggling, like what you were saying, Dina, with like, I don't even know what to say, because I feel like if they really want my feedback, it might, they're in a bad place. So it's you being understanding.
Right, so.
And that's what we all seek ourselves, is sometimes I just need grace. Like, I know I'm ranting and raving, but can I have a little grace here? It really sucks, right? Yeah.
Did I ask you?
Melissa, if you can come over here for a second. All right, now right here, please. All right. One,
Follow you?
2, 3, 4. Awesome. What's half of 4? 2. Good job.
As it get harder.
2. Listen, why did you do that?
Is I thought you asked me to. No.
I didn't. Did I ask her?
No.
Did I say, hey, come walk with me?
No.
Did I ask her to take steps with me? Why did you do that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
You don't.
You were invited. I felt like I was supposed to.
You're supposed to.
Yeah. Follow
It
your
would-
lead.
It wouldn't be because we have Ruth, you and I. It wouldn't be like, because, I mean, if some schmo, I was going to say Joe Schmo, and I don't want to do that to you, but if somebody came off the street and said, hey, Melissa, and started walking, would you follow them?
No,
Why not?
Because I don't have roots.
You don't have that established, right? So I'm being brutally honest with you
true,
right
yeah.
now. Okay, good. All right, thank you. Come on for Melissa. So here's the point. Here's the point with that. Because when we're talking about honesty, and somebody asks you for honesty, if you don't have a relationship established or love isn't established, right? Then they're not going to walk with you. But if someone comes up to you and and we're talking about the person that you thought about that first time, that feeling you had, that if somebody came up to you, that person came up and said, can I be honest with you? Or you asked them for honest feedback, how open would you be to receiving that, whatever they said? Because you know that whatever they're going to share is to elevate you, to help you expand, to become better, whatever, right? You know that. So it depends, who it is. I mean, if it's some complete stranger or someone you have, imagine somebody, the second person that you asked for honest feedback about. It depends on the relationship established. So however deep that relationship goes, like how much do you respect and value that person? How much do you know about that person? How much do you trust that person? How honest can you be? Right? So what that is that the deeper the love, the more established that relationship is in love. And what Melissa showed right here is that we already have that relationship, right? She will likely take a long walk up a short pier with me. Won't you, Melissa? You will do that, won't you, Melissa?
Yeah.
John's looking at me like, yeah, dude, all right. Right? Take. Right? So it depends on how deep that relationship is established. Okay? Other questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, recommendations, compliments. Compliments. Okay. All right. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? Are you going to leave tonight with something? Okay, right on. Right on. Okay. So this starts with you, right? Self-respect, understanding for the self, trust yourself, be honest with yourself. As within, so without. Just know, please know that everything that happens, all the healing and the strengthening and everything that's within you is what is going to show up outside of yourself. And I want you to take some time and reflect, do I value me? Do I know me? Do I trust that I can get through whatever it is I need to get through? And if I can't get through it, I have the resources and I can reach out to good people. I can get through this. And am I being honest with myself? Or am I putting a show on? Am I being authentic? And am I being real? Ruth is the fundamental. These are the pillars for a healthy, thriving relationship to exist both within ourselves and the people around us. This is also what we share within organizations. When you walk into a business, when you walk into an organization, when you walk into a building, when you walk into a family, into a home, do you feel what you feel when you close your eyes that first time? And if you don't feel Ruth when you walk into these places, we have to do some deep work. Where is it happening? And it's likely throughout. There's a thread throughout. But if your organization isn't experiencing what you felt the first time, if your family, if your partnership, whatever it is, isn't feeling this, reflect on what are these elements and how are they playing out in your relationships. If you aren't feeling this about you, if someone asks you, think about that person who you adore, you want to spend time with, you can lean on, and it's not you, why is it not you? I saw you get up, which means, where are we?
No, I just wanted
Okay.
I got a little word association.
Oh.
You finished with what you're.
Let me finish this and then we'll do word association. I love that. Now, we established this and this all makes sense. Yes, I'm not lying. I promise. So I want you to do something for me real quick because this is important. I want you to take a moment. I want you to look around this beautiful, beautiful establishment. And I want you to look at everything that's red in this establishment, okay? So go ahead and look at everything that's red in this establishment. And I want you to make a mental list in your mind of everything that's red around here. I know. Jen. All right, anything and everything that's red. And what I want you to think about is where is it located? How bright is it? How dull is it? What kind of connection you might have to it? All right? Beautiful, beautiful. Now I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about those red objects. I want you to think about where are they located? Are they bright red, dull red? What kind of connection or association you might have with it. Challenge yourself now. Maybe even put numbers next to each item to see how many you can remember. Maybe little notes on the sides that say bright, dull, in the corner, right? Challenge yourself now. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, with your eyes closed, what I want you to do is everybody recite back to me everything that's green. All right, keep your eyes closed. Anybody having a hard time retrieving green objects? Raise your hand if you're having a hard time. With your eyes closed, Michelle, do you know anything green at all?
Yeah, we're gonna green.
Yeah. Anybody else had a hard time retrieving green? Yes. Michelle, do you have a hard time retrieving green? No? She's wearing green. All right, so let me ask you this. So because you couldn't retrieve the green objects, does that mean that the green objects didn't exist?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So now that you open your eyes, you look around, you see the green things, you're like, oh yes, right? Linda, was there anything green that you remembered? Shoes? Did you remember her shirt? You did? Anybody see anything red over here? Yeah? Did anybody over here not remember Michelle's shirt? Dina, did you see her shirt? The green? But you didn't see hers? You both? So you remember those? Yes? Yeah.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. I know she's a locked memory. She could probably recite everything I just said all day. All right. So the green things that you didn't retrieve, that means that they existed, but you couldn't retrieve them in your mind. Yes. This is this is what happened to me when I was 17 years old, almost failing out of high school, and then going on to Syracuse University. I don't know how, but it was a mindset shift. And I graduated with just a cap and a gown while my friends had cords and bling around them. Anybody else like that? Yeah, nobody. Right? And then Syracuse, I was never going to walk across that stage without something around my neck. And when I walked around, I was like, ding, 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 which is really cool. But something happened. And what that shift was, when I realized I was paying attention to something that moved me in the wrong direction. So if you were focused on the red and you tried to retrieve the green, why were you why were there giggles?
You tricked us.
You tricked her. Was it like, oh my gosh, like I can't remember the red, I was so focused on, I can't remember the green, I was so focused on the red things, right? And let's just say that the red things are the things that are broken. Let's say the things that aren't working out. Let's say the things that we've been bombarded with, that we're not good enough, that we need more of. This lack mentality. We're always looking around to find to be better, to be better, to be more, to be more. And we're bombarded with advertising that say the same thing. If you want to be jacked, take this supplement. If you want to be prettier, buy this. Right? It's just the nature of our life. We walk into a grocery store. We walk into the mall. It doesn't matter. We're bombarded. We're advertisements. That's the whole purpose of marketing. To tap into that lack feeling. So we're always focused on how do we become better? How do we become better? And so the red is all around us because that's what we're focused on. So if we're focused on the red, the green things that happen to be our blessings, doors opening up, people who are knocking on our doors, who want to be part of our life, who want to connect with us. But if we're so focused on the red, we can be looking at red things and have to see right through the green. We miss out what's right in front of us. And the reason it's important for me to do this exercise is because I want you to know that love exists. Love exists everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Love is the green. And we're so focused on what's broken and what's not working. We're so focused on the division of what side of the aisle you're on. We're so divisive on do we believe that there's a God or not? Does religion exist? We are always trying to separate ourselves by what we are, how we are different. But the green exists. Love exists everywhere, and it's where you put your focus and energy that matters the most. If you focus on the red, if you're focusing on the lack, you're focusing on the broken, you're focusing on what's not good enough, how are you going to feel? Tell me. Crappy. Exhausted. Negative. Depressed. Hopeless. Anxious. Afraid. Disappointed. Hurt. Now, if you're focused on the red and you're feeling those things, how do you live your life?
Badly.
Are you like walking around going, I am so excited I'm depressed. This is the best day of my life. No. When we're walking around feeling that lack and unhappiness, we live a lack and unhappiness life. And then what happens is that we go around, anybody stub their toe when they wake up in the morning, like, oh, we're going to have that kind of a day. And once you make that claim, now everything throughout the day is to validate that idea. We don't wake up going, you know what, today I'm going to prove myself wrong. We don't do that. So if we look at the world through the pair of eyes of lack, and we feel what we feel, depressed, anxiety, frustration, sadness, all of that, and then we live it. We look around and we validate it in our world and we attract it. That's what I'm saying, as within, so without. Whatever we're paying attention to manifests in our life. We saw the red, we were paying attention to the red. Everything looks red. And that's our reality, that's what we know. But when you make that shift and you look at the blessings and we say, wait a minute, where's the green? It's right there, and it's right there, and I'm good enough, and I have what I need, and I'm blessed, and I have great friends, and I have my health, and I'm striving, and it's possible. And when you start paying attention to the green and the doors that are opening, how are you feeling now? Hopeful, empowered. You could do anything. It is all about state, the 5 inches between your ears. And when you're feeling it, you live it. And then you're not just living it, you're looking for reasons why I should be happy and fulfilled and excited, because I know that it all exists and I know it's all up to me. And if it's all up to me, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. There's a reason that was said hundreds of years ago. Let it begin with me. How do we elevate communities? How do we elevate our families? How do we elevate our relationships? How do we elevate ourselves? It begins with me. I will take care of me for you. You take care of you for me. That's how we elevate the collective. It starts with you. It starts with me. When the tide rises, all ships rise with it. And that tide that rises within us. And when that tide rises within us and we come together collectively, and I'm encouraging the tide to rise within you, and I'm showing up with Ruth, I'm respecting you, I want to know you, I trust you, I trust me, and I'm honest with you, you're honest with me. When I show up that way in your life fully, 100%, not 80%, I am helping you elevate what's within you, you're helping to elevate what's in me, and together collectively we are a sea of people elevated that can lean on one another. This is not hokey pokey woo woo stuff. It used to be. I used to talk around it. But love is real. And that's what this is. Love is like water. When it comes up to challenges, it doesn't look at a rock and go, I am not sure. Left, right, boy, I gotta think about this. Well, rock, how do you feel about me? It just goes. Let love go. Let it flow. You know you want to. You're just afraid because it's a trust thing. So I want to leave you with this. I know Sally's coming. Come on, because you have to do this for me because I will keep going. Yes. I'm asking you, please. I need you. All right, so I want to leave you with this. And how much time?
And then we'll leave with one more.
Okay. All right. I want to leave you with this. Be blessed, and this is not about religion at all. Be blessed because you already are. You see? Be blessed means you have green around you. You may not even see it. You may not even know it. If you're stuck in the red, and that's where you're focusing, it doesn't mean the green doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that you're not have that available to you. It's just you're not paying attention to it. You're blessed whether you know it or not. Doesn't that blow your mind? Banging on your door. Be blessed. Be great. And what being great means, take what's rightfully yours. There are green things all around you. When you take green things, it doesn't mean you're taking from someone else. And we have that idea that if you take what's rightfully yours, that someone else is not going to get. There's abundance. Believe it. And when I say take what's rightfully yours, it has your name on it, and there's doors to walk through that are only in the shape of you. Only in the shape of you. So nobody else can walk through it. So walk through it and take what's yours. That's what being great is. It's not about being better than anybody else. It's about allowing yourself to be the greatness you already are. Live big. Live big. Don't live small so the people around you feel more comfortable and more easy. Live in your bigness. And you know when you live in your bigness, people will fall away, leaving the room for the right people to come in. The lifters. Set yourself up around that great boardroom table as you as the CEO of your life. make the decision that Ruth is the guide and the indicator of who sits at that table. No longer am I going to ask people who are broke financial advice. People who don't know how to love advice. I'm going to surround myself with the right people. So live big, because we need your bigness in this world right now. Authentically. And lastly, love even bigger. This matters. How you show up matters. For you first. For you first. Live big. So be blessed. Be great. Live big. Love even bigger. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have some questions. We're going to do a fire. We're going to fire.
Well, yeah.
We're going to do that?
Well, I guess, is this on?
Yeah. Try it.
What you're saying is live abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, why? Be seen and shine bright.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Tom, thank you so much. I think everybody was pretty riveted.
Are
Are there any questions? Anybody want to comment, question? No criticism. Joe. Joe, go ahead.
So I get that, there's a powerful message coming through, love yourself, and that's what creates love for you, towards other people, and other people will love you back. And it's hard to get over, that we have experiences in life and in our youth that shape our self-love. And so it's, in my experience and, my knowledge of the world, it's not as easy as just, okay, I'm going to love myself.
Correct.
Because sometimes we're just really not there mentally. And so I would just ask what you have to say to that,
That's a beautiful question, and I think we all feel that. What you gave yourself the answer. You said, sometimes that's just how we feel, right? So, in the same sense that we say something like, Tom, and I've heard this, Tom, I don't want to fall in love again because I got hurt before. Listen, love didn't hurt you. It wasn't the love that hurt you. Okay? You understand that? Love didn't hurt you. And what you're saying is give yourself grace. What you're saying is sometimes I don't feel loving towards myself. And in that acknowledgement, I mean, how much are you valuing yourself when you acknowledge that and respecting where you are? How much of knowing who you are and where you are in that moment? How much are you trusting that, I'm not feeling it right now and I need space or I need somebody? And the fact that you acknowledged it and how honest you are. That's you just because you're in a space where you're feeling uncomfortable, out of sorts, dysregulated sometimes, doesn't mean you're not being loving to yourself. And that's what I want to define. Because we decide by how we feel, I don't feel good means I'm not loving. Or I don't feel good about this person doesn't mean I don't feel loving towards that person. Mm-hmm. You can still love the person and feel uneasy, right? There's something not there, not right. But what you just said, how you explained it, that is a very Ruth process that you shared. Does that mean?
Can I add to that?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not the motivational speaker, but what you're saying to me means that you need to set up a new board of directors. Get some people in your life, ask some people, Joe, you're an awesome guy, and I'm just looking at the outside, and I think we all look at the outside of all these people here, and we think they're great people and everything's great in their lives, but it isn't true. And I think when we connect with, we know somebody that has something secret, special, shiny, and bright, I want to be a part of that, ask them. Because when you're a cool person living around here, people want to help. And they want to sit down with, there's loads of people. I know everyone here, if you asked anyone to say,
hey, could you come to coffee with me tomorrow? And I just want to talk about my life and where I'm going. People would do that. And I loved that CEO, that board of directors is who am I really turning to in my life because I want them in my life. But I feel like, I don't know if that's a solution, but there's so many people, and I have a group of these amazing like women and friends, but it's because you work hard to do it, and there's always room for change. It's like, hey, these people aren't working for me. I still love them, but you know what? I need some new motivational people in my life.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
Tom, you had said a couple of things. I know you talked to me about a butterfly in a cocoon. Does that have anything to do with closing up tonight?
Oh, it can.
Okay.
Oh.
I also want to hear about the windshield and the rear view mirror. So that's how we'll close.
All right. Well, let's talk about the windshield and the rearview mirror first, and then I think that. So, I mean, that's the approach. The approach is the difference between the windshield and the rearview mirror is that the rearview mirror is focusing on the past, right? So we talked about, and a lot of times we focus on the past. If I was to ask somebody, tell me your most memorable experience, something that made the biggest impact on you, I would say 9 times out of 10 is not a positive experience. Right? And so we spend a lot of time looking in the rearview mirror at the negative things. We bring painful things to the present that don't exist anymore. We're on a continuum of life. And I think that the rearview mirror serves 2 purposes and 2 purposes alone. One, to learn from what we experienced. Because we are going in, or we're coming out of something all the time forever. All the time forever. And once we embrace that understanding that we're going in, or coming out all the time, then we can expect it. Maybe you or somebody that you know, whenever something good is happening in their life, they say something like, oh, things are going really well, then the shoe's gonna fall soon, right? You might feel that, or someone you know, it will fall. That's the way life is. Things are going great, and things sometimes aren't. And that's just the way it is. It's not that things are better, it's just at some point, something's going to happen, and that's the way life works. In the rearview mirror, the value of it, and the hope is that when you go in, and then you're in it and you come out, that you take the time to look back and you say, how did I get in it? What was it like when I was in it? And how did I get out? Because the reason why you're in it is usually because you're not paying attention to what it is you need to learn. You keep going through it over and over and over again. And many times we like to pursue our known hells instead of going and pursuing our unknown heavens. You see, we will go to the hurt and the pain because we know it, instead of trying something different and possibly feel a solution to a life and a lifestyle that will make us feel like we've never felt before. So the rearview mirror is all about what are we paying attention to in the past and are we bringing it here? And if we keep going back to it, or the past circumstances keep coming up, it's my belief that's the universe and our own experience trying to tell us we need to pay attention. Because once that's addressed and we understand it, it puts a bridge over the gap and we don't fall in it again because we learn from it. And what's even more full circle is that once you learn from it and you gain all this amazing understanding, is that you begin to share it with others. And that's the biggest gift that you can give. So the windshield is about the here and now and moving forward, not spending the time in the rearview mirror. When I offer my coaching, that's the thing I share. I spend time in the windshield about moving forward, about the here and now. If you don't have the resources, we'll find it. But it's the here and now. What are you looking to move forward? How do you want to move forward? Right? And when I say that, it's like a relief because, and I think therapy and counseling has its place, but I don't want to rehash old stuff as if it's already happening today. You are evolving. Which leads to the next story, of course.
The butterfly and the cocoon.
Right. So here, you may have heard this, and I'm going to put a little twist on it. So there's a gentleman who was sitting, looking out his window, washing dishes, and he sees his neighbor staring at a picnic table. He's like, what the heck's going on over here? So about 15, 20 minutes, he's just watching him just stare at the picnic table. So he gets out of his house and he goes to his neighbor and he looks at him and he's like, hey man, I've been watching you. You just staring at the picnic table. What's up? He's like, yeah, I just, I'm watching this poor butterfly. He was in a cocoon and he was trying to get out. So I went in and I grabbed a pair of scissors and I cut the cocoon and it just fell out and it's just laying there, just limp. And the neighbor said, you shouldn't have done that. He said, why not? He said, well, it's the universe's way. You see? See, when the butterfly is becoming a butterfly, it pushes against the cocoon, and quite honestly, that's the way it develops strength in its wings. So if it's strong enough to break through the cocoon, then when it comes out of the cocoon, it's strong enough to fly. So what you did is you cut the cocoon and you took the struggle away, his ability to become stronger, and now he lays limp, and he'll never fly.
I get it.
We are constantly going in, or coming out of something. We are constantly coming from caterpillars to butterflies on a regular basis. It's not a one-time transformation. That's why I call it the transformational power of love. Because it's in this experience of self-love and the expression of it that gives us the wings to fly. That when we are approached with struggles in our life, that it's the opportunity for us to gain strength. Because every time we gain strength and we get to the other side of whatever it is that we're challenged by, we're able to see it from another perspective. We are getting to another level. We are ascending like butterflies with wings, and we see things with a different perspective. And you know this. Have you ever been through something difficult before? And if you were to do it again, would you do it the same way? That is gaining your wings. So we may see other people who are struggling like we have, and one of the things that we'll want to do is grab the scissors and break them free from it. We know this. We want to fix people, so we want to cut them from the cocoon. And every time we do that, we stop them from building the strength they need to fly. And we do it out of the good intentions of our heart. We want to do it because we don't like seeing them struggle. But one of the most loving things that we can do is let them gain the strength that they need. Every time you cut them out, even your children, you cut them out of that cocoon. What you're sending the message is you can't handle that struggle, and I'm going to come over and take care of it because you're not capable of doing it. Now, if you really love somebody and you really care about them, and they're going through the struggle and they're trying to get out of that cocoon, you sit there and you say to them, I believe you can get out of that cocoon. I believe you have what it takes. I'm here if you need me, but I know you can do this. I know you have the strength to get through it. And if you get through it, I know you're going to fly. And I'll fly with you. But I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do it for you. Because if I do it for you, you will stay there limp and expect somebody else to cut you free. And you'll never gain the strength you need to fly, to elevate, to become all you were meant to become. And that is what we're talking about here today. Believe in yourself. Love up on yourself. And in your way of breaking free of that cocoon, you now become a model for others to watch you do this. When they watch you do it, to believe that they can too. This is what I want you to do. Make an okay sign for me. Do it. Do it. Make an okay sign. All right? Really, really tight. Now put it on your chin. On your chin. On your chin. On your chin. Oh. Why did you put it on your cheek? Because you saw what I did, not hear what I did. So when you become and do the thing and you fly like a butterfly, what happens is people watch you. They don't care about what you say, they watch what you do. Be a butterfly. Be a butterfly for yourself and allow others to do the same. Don't cut them free. Let them gain their wings.
It reminds me of how I was raised in the 60s. That's how our parents raised us, and parenting has changed a lot. So it really is like that struggle is valuable. Tom, your message, wonderful. Thank you so much. Everybody I know enjoyed it. If you have any questions to talk to Tom about after closing, any announcements about what's happening in the community? Anybody got anything? We have our box for contributions. We give it all to Old Soul. We're so thankful for this space and what it means to so many people in the community. Anything going on that people want to talk about? Next, Vinspire
Is gratitude.
is about gratitude, and it is on November.
I'll send it out.
We'll send it out. If you'd like to be on the email, I'm happy to add you. One last little thing that a number of us are involved in is there's a blessing of the pets at First Presbyterian Church on Saturday afternoon at 3. It's there's a sing-along with